Good morning, everyone. My name's Karen. I'm the Community Learning Librarian at the State Library. And I'm going to be doing the next session, which is called Searching the South Australian Collection for HASS Foundation to 12. So just wanted to give you a brief overview of what the session is about. You would have seen on the blurb, we're going to be looking at the South Australian collection at the State Library. Hopefully you'll be able to search this afterwards and be able to find things that will help history come to life for you. We've got very significant collections, including materials that are unique to South Australia. And so we're going to look at the resources that are freely available through our digitized resources. So as Sharon was mentioning earlier, the maps and photographs, letters, diaries, oral histories. We'll look at those, where they are, and also how you can find things within our integrated library catalogue as well. So hopefully they'll be able to support your HASS curriculum. So what we've got here, you're probably a little bit familiar already. Sharon has shown you a little bit about digital collections, and so I'm going to burrow down a little bit further today. So just to start off with, collecting and preserving material relating to South Australia and its people has been a primary role of the State Library, and excuse me, in many cases we hold the only remaining documented copy of an item. So the materials that we have within our collection date from before formal colonisation of SA in 1836, right through to the present day, and also including the Northern Territory before 1911. Many of the items that we have within the South Australian collection are donated by members of the community. So what we've got just on our the digital collections here, just a few more that you can look at within our South Australian collection. We've got colonial history of South Australia. That's a timeline with digitised items within our collection from colonisation through to around the time of membership in Federation with the Commonwealth of Australia. We've also got another one that's called Advance Australia, South Australia and Federation. And that's another place to find digitised resources. It's a bibliography of South Australia and the role that South Australia and South Australians played in the establishment and development of the nation. Then we've also got, you can see, something called South Australians at War. And within that collection, we've got thousands of stories of sacrifices and contributions that South Australians have made in numerous international conflicts. Moving on, we've got South Australia in the 20th century. Again, this is another timeline. This moves on from Federation, becoming part of the Commonwealth, and going through to about 2001. So the events that have shaped South Australia and Australia. We've also got a great area within digital collections, which is called our transcripts. And the transcripts are a selection of interesting and significant handwritten letters and diaries. And they come from our archival collection. And we've got a wonderful group of volunteers at the library that they go through and look at these resources and transcribe them. As you can see just on the image for the writing can be quite difficult to read. Lots of people have lost the art of reading the cursive writing. And the thing that Sharon has showed you quite a bit of already is the digital collections, which showcase some selected items that focus on South Australia. So I just wanted to just explain a little bit about the State Library's role. It's got a special role within the state, and what's happened is we do have what we call the Libraries Act 1982 in South Australia, and it requires publishers to deposit a copy of all their publications, including every periodical and newspaper, free of charge to the State Library. The library's also got authority to claim items from interstate and overseas publishers. This is when publications have a particular relevance to South Australia. And this legal deposit legislation has been in place since 1870. So we've got some major things that make up the published collection of the State Library. And you can see initially we've got an example of a book, the Green and Gold Cookery book, that was put out by the Congregational Church in South Australia. So that's an item within our heritage collection. So we've got a little bit of a different role. Like many libraries will collect, contemporary books, like a school library, on fiction and non-fiction. Also the public library, obviously wanting to have a very contemporary collection. We do have a contemporary collection, but we don't tend to throw away anything that's going to be of historical value. So we've got a very historic collection of books. So you'd find that we, like I mentioned before, we'd be one of the few places that would have a copy deposited. Part of the published collection is also the magazines and periodicals that we collect. The one that you can see is called the Children's Hour. Interestingly, this is an education department of South Australia publication. It started in the 1880s and it went through to the early 1960s. And they published different year levels, and they circulated it to all the schools within South Australia. And it was so that a school would have, wherever it was, would have access to reading and recreation for the students. So that's something that we've got within our collection as well. And then also we've got the newspaper collection. And the newspaper collection at the State Library is the most comprehensive collection of newspapers in South Australia, with coverage for state, national and international newspapers. And we've collected newspapers since the state's first newspaper that was printed in June 1836. This was just prior to European colonisation of South Australia. Apart from having the physical newspapers within our collection, we also have access to a number of databases that have digital versions of newspapers, and I'll show you a little bit more about that in the next session, which will be about e-resources after lunch. Continuing on, it's a very large collection that we have that make up the South Australian collection. What I showed you just before are some things that were part of the published collection, or the major things within the published collection. But what I've got just up on this slide are things that are archival items, and these are unpublished papers and recordings of and records and recordings of individuals, businesses and community organisations. So this could be a church, for example, a sporting club or a special interest group. And these are collected because they're considered worthy of preservation for the future. So the library collects archival material which is predominantly South Australian in content, or it is about South Australians and has research value. The State Library's archival collection actually began in 1920, so it's been going a while, and it was part of what was called the South Australian Archives, which was established. And this was the first state archives in Australia. So again, the collection, like our book collection, dates back to the early colonial period of the 1830s. Some of it even predates European colonisation of South Australia. So as you're probably seeing, we've got quite a variety of sources of information that you can tap into at the State Library. We've got a photograph of we've got photographs, for example. This one's of a district school in Lobethal in the 1880s, and we've got a fantastic photographic collection. We've got over 300,000 digitised photographs that you can access from our library catalogue, which I'll show you a little bit later. And many of these prior to 1955 are available to view and download and print those photographs. We've also got a significant map collection. Many are unpublished and some are published maps. You can see the one in the middle. This is a map of South Australia from 1845. Also, we've got a poster collection as well. So if you were doing the colonial period looking at Australian colonies in HASS, and you were wanting to look at posters, the one that we've got here is called the Java poster from 1839. But this is a poster that was pinned up in the town of Truro in Cornwall, and it was really a promotion poster saying you can get a free passage to South Australia, we'll pay for you, and they outlined the types of people that they want and the types of jobs. We also have even real objects, realia, and just on the bottom left-hand corner of this slide, we've got a piece of hide from Governor Hindmarsh's cow from 1836. Some people are surprised to see those sorts of things in our collection. Apparently this cow came on board the ship, the Buffalo, the one that arrived just at the end of December 1836, and apparently this cow did provide milk to children of the early colonisers that arrived at Glenelg Holdfast Bay. We've even got manuscripts as well, so unpublished things, but this is a book from a person, a school child, back in the beginning of the 19th century, and you can see their schoolwork. And then other sort of very interesting things that we have within our collection are medals. And this is a Magarey medal from 1932. We also have just a few other things here. We've got postcards, we've got letters and diaries, and you would have seen some board games that Sharon mentioned. Postcards, that's from World War I. It's a beautiful embroidered postcard that was sent from a South Australian soldier to his mother. The next letter that we've got is from 1837, mentioned about Governor Hindmarsh. This is a passenger on the ship, Rosina Ferguson. She was one of the first people that came on the official party on the Buffalo. This is letters that she was sending back to Scotland to her family, and this has been transcribed. Then, you know, moving further into the HASS curriculum, you know, more into Year 10, World War II, we've got the diaries. This is a war diary of Don McLaren from 1942. He was on the Burma Railway, and also you've seen some board games already. So searching the collection, we've got a, if any of you have used our catalogue before, you may have seen that we've had an update in December. But searching the essay collection, a lot of what, if you want to free range and do some, you know, your own searches for some things, maybe for people, places, events that have happened in South Australia that you think are interesting. Maybe it's the local history or local area that your school is located in. Just one little tip, with our catalogue, you can search, you can refine, you can get what you want online often. When you're searching for the South Australian, we've got a refine area just on the left-hand side. And so it's always good just to click it on the library catalogue, because then you'll only get what we've got within the State Library. And obviously, as you've seen, we've got a great South Australian collection. So just click on the library catalogue if you're only looking for things in the State Library in our new catalogue. There are some other refinements when you get to the catalogue. I'll be giving you a little bit of a demonstration, but some of the things that I've shown you, the variety of things within our essay collection, you can refine that by content. So as you can see, the top left-hand corner, you can refine your search only to photographs. So instead of getting everything that's on, say, a particular person or a place within South Australia, you can limit it just to see what photographs we have. There are some refinements for publication as well. So when you're looking at history, you may not be so interested in refining it to the last year, but you can put in a date range as well if you want to. And there's also a time period refinement. So you might be only interested in things for the 19th century or a particular time period. You can burrow down using that. And then also you can even make it more refined by selecting a region. So in the refinement area, you can see region. You could select South Australia only, or if you've looked for a place, you can just refine it only to that place. And so what we're going to do now is just, you've probably seen this page a little bit already with Sharon's session, but just in the top left-hand corner of our website, we have got the catalogue search option. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen and take you to the website. And this is all familiar to you, the website that we've got just here. And what we're going to do, there's two ways you can look for digitised resources. You can do your own self-selection by searching the catalogue, or you can go to some areas within digital collections that are curated for you on a topic. But what we'll do first is go to an opportunity for you to do your own sort of searching. This is really good if you're wanting to look for your local area. What I'm going to do is put in Port Adelaide as a search initially. Obviously, there's going to be quite a lot of information on that part of South Australia. And again, just a reminder, when you're searching for the essay collection, it's so much better to refine your search and click on the library catalogue. So then you will only get what's within the State Library collection. So at the moment, you're getting anything that is available in all types of content in different variety of information sources. So you can scroll down, it will give you some information about the resource. But when we were looking at our essay collection and the types of content that we have, you saw within our archival collection we did have photographs. So just under content, we do have an opportunity to limit it by a variety of sources. And so what I want to do is to have a look at the photographs. This refinement just makes it easier to navigate. So now what you're getting is only photographs within our collection. When you see the online, this has been digitized. So we do a lot of digitizing. We've been doing digitizing of photographs for over 30 years within the library as a way of reformatting and making it available. So what you can do is just have a look and click on something within the catalogue, and then you will get an image come up and you can see that on your screen. A great facility is that you can zoom in and out, and depending on the quality of the photograph, you can sort of see more detail as you zoom in and zoom out. Another really good thing that you need to do is to get some information. Say if you did think, oh, that's interesting, then you need to go into the info. It will give you a summary of what is within what the photograph's about. So it'll tell you that it was taken in 1890, give you some great details about the photograph. And then there's a couple of things you can do. You can print and you can also download. Printing will mean that you just print that just on at school or at home, and you'll get that as a printout. Anything that has no restrictions on it, which is essentially any photographs before 1955, you can download that and print that. One thing you do need to do before you do that is just take note of the reference. It's always good to keep that as a reference in case someone likes that photograph, or also if you would like to be able to find that again, you've got that information there. So you can actually download that to the PC, keep that and use that. Once you're in your search within a photograph searching, you can replicate your search. The reason why I'm showing you this is it's a little platform that once you're in a photograph, it makes things a whole lot easier because it will give you thumbnails. So you can see there's over, or close to 10,000 photographs on Port Adelaide. And again, once you're in, you can scroll through, have a look at these. There's many pages that you can go through and look at, and then you can go in and click again and have a look at that image. One thing other than just in this platform here, something other than just photographs, you do occasionally find some other formats that have been digitized. They could be a letter. In this case, I've just got maps, and I'll just show you what happens here. So again, when you're trying to incorporate into your history, maybe some geography and looking at how things have changed, we've got 107 maps of the Port Adelaide area. And again, you can go in, get some information on that map from 1840. You can zoom in, as you can see, and importantly, you can, because the information says that there's no restrictions, you can download that and print it off, or you can print it just onto a piece of paper. So it's a really good way that you can get quite a lot of resources about your local area and your school area if you're interested. What I'm going to do now is just get back to our results page here that we had. Just so that we don't run over time today, you can see, remember that you can take that off. You could put on content as maps, or you could put it on as books, or as you can see, ebooks or other formats. So you can certainly mix it up in terms of what you're interested in looking in. So what I'm going to do now is just go back. So remember, that was just within our catalogue search. You just put your search term in, remember about the refinements, and then you can also get often get the digitised version. So just a little bit further down here, we've got explore the collections. And Sharon's shown you a little bit about the digital collections here. There's just another area here, the collections spot just in the middle of the page, explore our collections. And some of the major collections are, of course, South Australia Family History, our general reference collection. We're not only South Australian material, we also have world knowledge, and there's also special collections. But we're going to burrow into the South Australia, and this is an area where you can find out some more detail. So just we've got different tiles, and because we've been digitising material for, well, certainly a lot in the last 20 years, there's various times where we've created curated content of digitised material. So just referring back to HASS, particularly in Year 6, if you're looking at the development of the nation and South Australia's role in the development of the Commonwealth, we do have one that's called Advanced Australia, South Australian Federation. If you're looking at women's rights, particularly around that Year 6 time frame, Catherine Helen Spence, she's the woman that got, well, one of the women that got votes for women in South Australia, second place in the world after New Zealand in 1894. So very good for civics. Colonial history of South Australia, again, you can explore that. That's the timeline I mentioned. This one, Encounter, looks at the a bit of first contact, early exploration of South Australia. And then there's many others that you can look at, mapping sources for South Australia and South Australians at War, and also the transcripts that I mentioned you can go to as well. So what I thought I would do is just show you just a few, and we'll just have a look at the Advance Australia, South Australia's role. South Australians did play a key role in the establishment of the new nation. This one here is a bibliography of South Australians' role, and there's an area which looks at Federation images. So again, this is curated, but if you could do a search on the catalogue if you wanted to, but this puts it into different areas. So if you were doing that topic and you wanted to have a novel way of looking at why were the reasons for federating, we've got some digitised items here. And these are from a periodical magazine in South Australia called The Critic, and these are cartoons. So these look at some of the reasons why we federated. You can see just from the cartoons some of the reasons that were motivating people to federate and become one nation. And then some of the things that people were worried about as well that might happen. Some of those things still prevail today in terms of maybe other states or colonies having too much influence. So up again, if we just go back a little bit further, you can find out a little bit more about Catherine Helen Spencer's role. One of the people, there was lots of paraphernalia. We collect ephemera as well, so there was lots of information going around why we should vote for federation, the benefits, and so you can print this off if you want to within the classroom. There's also the no vote as well. Again, if we just move down a bit further, just wanted to show you South Australians at war. This is South Australians and all the conflicts they've been involved in internationally, so it's not just World War I and World War II, but you can see there's different tiles that you can go in and get digitised content and use that and self-select. If we go into the one that says conflicts, you can see that there is a lot of different conflicts we've been involved in way before World War I. And then it moves on further forward in time. If we just select World War I, for an example, you can see that it breaks the theme down. There's South Australians on the Western Front, for example, and you can see there's some digitised content here that you can have a look at. And then you can self-select and have a look. This is a pocket notebook from World War I of Ralph Claridge. And also you can see this is in digitised collections. You can go in. So Ralph Claridge, he was born in South Australia. He fought. He was one of the first people that went to Gallipoli, and then he went on to the Western Front, and he died actually on the Western Front at Villers-Bretonneux on the 25th of April 1916. Within his diary, we've got his fiance's photographs, so he would have looked at his fiancée quite a lot when he was making entries within his diary. So unfortunately he died, but you can see that you can go in and have a look at these digitised resources. Getting to the, I'll just stop sharing for a moment now. There's much more to look at, but one of the things, it's about time for you to have an opportunity to have a look at that area on the website. So we'll just put up the slide. And the other thing I just need to mention to my colleagues that are listening, while I've been demonstrating, the last couple of minutes, we've got an evacuation, believe it or not, signal. So I've been holding on so we can get to this point so I can get out of the building and check out what I've got to do. So this is a good time for us to actually get you to have an opportunity to explore. So I'll catch you in a moment. I'll have to go, I'm sorry.